There came a darkness in those dying days of Bretonnia when the black legions of King Lewin's greatest shame swarmed across the land. Mallobaude the Serpent renounced his father, renounced the lady, and kingdoms burned under his wrathful gaze. But the best way to fight fire is with fire, and in the case of black magic, it takes a wielder of Shyish to end the blight of undeath. Elspeth von Draken, the Dark Lady of Nuln, leads the Empire to war to do what the Lion-Hearted could not, to stop this invasion dead in its tracks, before it reaches Axebite Pass and plunges into the heart of the Reichland. Mixu's Lord Mods and Mixu's Musillon means malicious fun on Warhammer 2, and the Dark Lady is riding her Great Carmine Dragon, a creature of shadow and sorrow. She wields the Pale Scythe, which grants her a ton of AP and armor sundering as she cleaves through reality itself, while Darkwalker effectively turns her into a spooky ghost as she phases in and out of the space-time continuum. She is a Lore of Death caster, Purple Sun, Spirit Leech, and Soul Blight, and Death's Timekeeper gives her a huge burst of HP once she drops low, giving her some measure of control over death itself, and she crumbles. She does not rout. Exceptional caster lord with powerful melee capabilities and a ton of flair, I think she'd be by far one of the best remaining choices for Empire DLC or Free LC, and frankly, I think she offers more than even Boris Todbringer. I'd rather have a Midland-themed Lord pack just because of the Cult of Ulrich, but it's not really because of Boris himself. I think she offers more. Below her, ride the Terror Birds of Yore, Theodore Bruckner, the Titan Headsman, and a couple regiments of Demigryph Knights. The Hound of Judgment, as he is also known, wields the Executioner Sword Liar's Bane, and is essentially unbreakable when losing melee combat. He also has the Baleflame Amulet, gifted by the Dark Lady herself, a magical artifact that explodes outwards when he drops low in health. He rides the massive Demigryph Reaper, and will be the right-hand man of Elspeth in this particular battle. 3 Free Company Militia, and a bunch of halberds round out the rest of the Nuln build. Got 2 demis with lances. Decided not to go for the halberd variant in this one just because I want a little bit more all-around punching power. I figured I'd be charging a lot of Graveguard and Infantry, which I was correct. There's a lot of infantry on the field, so they'll have their work cut out for them here. Across the snows plod the undead armies of Mousillon, led by their Duke Mallobaude, the Black Knight. The great lord of men and beasts now fall into darkness, wielding the Chalice of Malfleur, which basically guarantees he hits the healing cap and gives him a 22% ward save, while Unyielding Will, Honor or Death, and Aura of Dark Majesty help him outduel the opposition. He's supported by a Pimpin' White King with Heroic Killing Blow and Scabscath, and Damned Questing Knights, which are just about the scariest cav units imaginable. Questing Knights are already a hard counter to demis. Spectral ones aren't going to make that fight any easier, and neither will the Knights of the Black Grail. Perfect, Unholy Vigor, and 20 bonus versus infantry. They are amongst the mightiest undead to have ever stalked the old world. Looking at the stat line, maybe even better than Blood Knights. Scary stuff. Remember, with the armies of Musillon, it's not just the dead you gotta worry about, but the corrupted living as well. So alongside these Bretonnian-themed Graveguard, and Skeleton Warriors, and Zombos, there are tons of pox-riddled homeless people with halberds too. Yeah, poison halberds. Armor-piercing halberds. A little bit scary. So, first things first, you gotta get rid of these front ranks and get into the more important elite troops, the Graveguard, the Skeleton Warriors, and eliminate the mobility for Mousillon if you want a chance to win, but that's easier said than done because they've invested a lot in very powerful, heavy cavalry that can chunk through the armor of Demigryphs incredibly easily. So if you give the Lance variant 2 chevrons apiece, they cost the same as the Halberd variant, but have way better stats. A lot more versatility, and that's helpful when you're slamming beak first into the unwashed masses. You thought peasants smelled bad? Imagine zombie peasants. I mean, sure, they're both rotting and diseased, but the zombos need to be taken care of, and 10 feet of hard steel to the face should help a lot. Can I just say, though, I absolutely, positively cannot stand this shit. I mean, this was an instant disengage, charging into the cheapest infantry in Mortal Empires, and 2 Demigryph models get stuck here and are going to end up dying. I am all for mass changes, but this needs some revisiting, because this should not be happening. There is no way expensive monstrous cavalry should be getting stuck in zombies after a quick cycle charge. Really dumb. Really, really dumb. Players should have to actively do something to pin elite cavalry in place, not just let their zombies get charged for free and then get rewarded with 2 free kills. Anyway, the Midnight Ravens of Rashad have been caught up by the Demigryph Knights, and in the middle, the Bastardiers of Chalon being shot up by the Sterling's Revenge and the Free Company Militia, while Elspeth von Draken and her Great Carmine Dragon deal with Fellbats overhead. Now, this is going to be a very interesting engagement, because the Spectral Knights and the Knights of the Black Grail are coming in, and I figured, hey, you know what, I'm gonna let my Free Company get charged here. That means my Demigryphs don't take the charge, Halberds can reinforce, pop a Soul Blight, Spirit Leech, all that will be Gucci. I don't care too much about the Free Company. They're an okay unit, but really they're there to die and meet shield and just be annoying. So let them take the charge. Demigryph Knights follow it up, Halberds follow it up, Elspeth von Draken follows it up, and it should go relatively well. With that said, Free Company will die horribly after they get charged by Knights of the Black Grail. Like I said, they have 20 bonus versus infantry and a ridiculous stat line, so the only thing that will slow them down here is a Soul Blight and hopefully some magical attacks coming in from Elspeth von Draken on her Carmine Dragon. The White King with his heroic killing blow, and Mallobaude with all his buffs popped. That is a lot of damage going the way of my Demigryph Knights, even though they did not get initially charged. As I said, Questing Knights are tin can openers. They are hard counters to Demigryph Knights, so it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be close. It's gonna require a lot of resources to get that cavalry off the field. There's no healing going the way of either side except for the lords themselves. There's no Invocation of Nehek. There's no regular Blood Knight plays where you get your models back, and that would synergize incredibly well with the Spectral Questing Knights, but even still, terror out for the Demigryphs. Elspeth with her Pale Scythe popped. It's still a little bit too much for even the Halberdiers, and those Questing Knights just have so much damage. They buzzsawed through everything, and now the Demis are a bit isolated. Elspeth realizes she can't stick around. Mallobaude, the White King, and all those Spectral Knights are a very scary proposition to take down. Another Spirit Leech on them, though. Great value from that spell. Should bleed about 4 or 5 models every single time she casts that. Maybe even more on the Spectral variant. And Theodore Bruckner, the Titan headsman, realizing that discretion is the better part of valor and noping the hell on out of there. Heavy cavalry from Musillon won that fight convincingly, and now they have free reign to run over Free Company in the back line, and a lot of that was opened up by a really nice Scabs Graph from the White King, so that certainly helped them in that cavalry engagement because they got rid of the Halberdiers super quick. Graveguard and Zombos fighting alongside these Halberdiers who are holding the line admirably, but all they have to do is hold while the Carmine Dragon unleashes its core-sighting blast, and that'll be many dead amongst the undead, shish-kebabbing an entire section of that formation while the Free Company are ridden to the edges of the map and slaughtered without any care in the world by Mallobaude, who's basically Mordred from King Arthur, a bastard son who eventually turned on his father and led an army to devastate the kingdom. Which is exactly what happens to Bretonnia in the end times. They're doing a great job in the infantry grind at the moment, but Theodore Bruckner is doing what he can to turn the tides in the favor of the Dark Lady of Nuln. Reaper, living up to its name for sure, alongside Liar's Bane and Theodore Bruckner ripping Graveguard and Skelly Boys inside out by their buttholes. Zombies on this side will stand zero chance against Elspeth von Draken, the Dark Lady, using her Pale Scythe and her extensive knowledge of necromancy, or rather, I guess Shyish. It's not quite necromancy, but it's a similar scheme of magic. It's just causing so much havoc over here, and that'll be 2 full units of zombies dead under those withering blasts from its purple mouth. Reaper, still doing what he can to stem the tides of undead on the left flank for the Empire. Don't really love the colors of Nuln, to be honest. They're very similar to the Reichland colors. I feel like they don't look quite as unique as some of the other Empire state troops, which is unfortunate. And what's also unfortunate for them is the Halberds are being run completely over by that cavalry goon squad in the back of the map. And you can see that Mallobaude is doing everything he can to make sure all the support for the infantry is taken care of before that cavalry slams home and deals with the unbreakable Sigmar Sons and the rest of these Halberdiers. There are a few Demigryph Knights still alive, but they have been disappointing this game. Felt like I got a pretty good engagement off with them with the Soul Blight, with the Spirit Leech, with the support from Elspeth von Draken and Theodore Bruckner, but the DPS from the heavy cavalry on the Musillon side is pretty crazy. And the Demigryphs, without their heals, without Lore of Life, well, they just could not stand up to it. With that said, you can see the cavalry from Musillon got beat up pretty bad in that fight as well. It was Mallobaude and the White King that ended up being the tide turners there. Coruscating blast coming down on the Bastardiers of Chalon, getting a bunch of kills, but Elspeth now has no support, and that's one issue with dealing, or rather losing, the Free Company militia so early and allowing them to get charged by the heavy cavalry, is the fact that now there's no range troops to get rid of the fell bats. So against that 44 melee defense, Elspeth von Draken has to cut through all those fell bats, and they will last a long time up in the air while Reaper does his thing over on this flank by himself. Halberdiers charged in the rear by the remnants of the Black Grail Knights and the Spectral Questing Knights. Can Elspeth, with her Darkwalker pop and that physical resistance, deal with these fell bats in time? 2 full units of fell bats can keep even a Star Dragon tied down for an exceptional amount of time, and that can be game-changing in and of itself. So she's actually trying to escape. She doesn't want to fight them anymore, but thinks she'll have to. She doesn't really have a choice, and all the infantry except for the Sigmar Sons now breaking from the field for Nuln. Not a whole lot left on the field for them, but everything that is still alive is either unbreakable or extremely difficult to kill. Theodore could kill off that entire missile cav unit by himself, no problem whatsoever. White King is on the hunt, looking for halberdiers to slay, and the Sons of Sigmar, after a charge from the Questing Knights, well, their HP dropped to pretty much 0, so there's really no infantry left for the forces of Nuln at all. Elspeth gonna have to put the team on her back like Greg Jennings and the broken leg dough. Can she deal with the fell bats in time? Looks like she's gonna be able to, and a Purple Sun Azirius about to rain down. Won't be an incredible cast, but it'll kill 4 or 5 elite cavalry models, kill some zombies, kill a few grave guards, so not horrible, but also not amazing. Might have been better off saving for some spirit leeches just to make sure you have guaranteed DPS against the Knights of the Black Grail or Mallobaude himself. The 22% ward save and the regen are both big issues. That Malice or Chalice of Malfleur means that anytime he's in a sticky situation, he's getting that 22% ward save and some regen too. But you can only cast that like maybe 1.5 times before hitting the healing cap. So really it's the ward save that you're worried about. You just know Mallobaude will always hit that cap. There's nothing you can do about it because it heals just an absurd amount. It's like 2,500. I mean, he's very, very tanky and tough to kill. And Elspeth von Draken, her Carmine Dragon, and Reaper with Theodore Bruckner astride him, well, they're fighting back-to-back, just like in Tamarkan Throne of Chaos. Maybe a Magath Lord we will end up seeing in Warhammer 3, a Nurgle Lord. It'd be pretty awesome riding his Toad Dragon. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what that brings. Yeah, both these characters actually are straight from the Tamarkan Throne of Chaos book. So it's where we got Carmine Dragon lore, where we got Toad Dragon lore. That's where we got the brave last stand of the Titan Headsman fighting alongside the Dark Lady of Nuln. They're all going in. Unyielding Will, Chalice of Malfleur, and Heroic Killing Blow pops for Mallobaude. Liar's Bane, everything popped for the Dark Lady and for Theodore Bruckner as well. Can they goon out these important characters, maybe get rid of the White King and leave Mallobaude on an island? Once he hits that healing cap, might be a lot easier to kill him. Theodore is taking a lot of damage right now, but so is the White King, and the Carmine Dragon has one more coruscating blast to share with the world. This time going straight for the Black Knight himself, and the Serpent will feel her wrath. By God, he is broke it in half. That was a huge breath attack from the Carmine Dragon. Mallobaude down past half HP, and the Balefire Amulet ready to go off. He's about to drop below 10% HP, which is when that explosion generally kicks in. And I think it is a guaranteed explosion. There it is. It's killing a lot of the infantry, everything around them crumbling out, and they might win, but at what cost? Theodore just died. Reaper just died, leaving Elspeth by herself against a White King and against the Serpent. Down to 1,100 HP, but remember, Death's Timekeeper can proc, and she's back to 4,300 HP, and she is right back in this game. She's got a serious chance of clutching this one out with her 390 weapon strength and armor-piercing Carmine Dragon. But she's beginning to crumble, as are her enemies. Everything is getting low in leadership, getting low in health. The White King is maybe 2 hits from crumbling out. She's debilitated. Dark Walker is the only thing, that high physical resistance, keeping her alive. But if she manages to kill Mallobaude and the White King, this battle will be over, and it will be Elspeth von Draken's, the Dark Lady of Nuln. Unyielding Will, heroic killing blow procced, and it's looking like the Dark followers of Musillon will be able to win this one. They finish off the Carmine Dragon, they force Elspeth von Draken to disappear back into the void, and they take the battlefield. Wow, really close one. Really fun one. Mallobaude didn't get a lot of kills, but he made a huge impact there in terms of dealing DPS against the single entities for Nuln. 215 kills on Elspeth von Draken, 70 on Theodore Bruckner, 100 on a lot of the halberdiers. As you'd expect, those numbers will be inflated against all the undead from Musillon. But the Demigryph Knights, who started the battle with 2 chevrons, did not earn any more, and they were not particularly impressive, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit butthurt about it. It really didn't have anything to do with the fact that they got caught out by the zombies. Losing 2 models there was annoying, but it didn't really affect the outcome very much at all. It was just annoying to see that happen. Again, mass, they should not have trouble pushing through 2 or 3 models of zombies. A Demigryph, like, quadruples their weight. Should not be an issue any way, shape, or form. But I was surprised to see how poorly they did against the Knights of Mousillon. I think Mallobaude had a lot to do with it. His Unyielding Will and his AoE buffs for Knights, or any units that are nearby, really made it pretty painful in those fights. The Halberds did what they could to help out, but Scabscraft from the White King was well timed and put the whooping on them. The Dark Walker herself ended up getting 4,000 damage value that game, which is incredibly high. She was awesome. But yeah, the White King and Mallobaude, I mean, he's almost 3,000 damage value by himself, only 14 kills. She got 215. So she did more than he did, but not that much more, considering the discrepancy in the kill count. And yeah, the Knights of the Black Grail and the Spectral Questing Knights were huge issues all game long. Didn't use my free company particularly well, and the fact that they were able to kill them off so easily meant that Elspeth was left to deal with fell bats up in the sky by herself, and the Knights just had free reign in my back line, running down the routing halberds, running down the free company, and generally messing my day up. So a little bit more investment on getting rid of the Cav in terms of Spirit Leeches going their way might have made them crumble out a bit sooner and made that final duel a little bit more palatable, but it was going to be a tough one, and PD the Power Dragon played that very well and showed off the power that Musillon brings to bear when it comes to heavy cavalry. Well played to him. I'll see you next time.